Okay, well, as Chris said, I'm Peter Gounares, and after his introduction, I'm just going to call it quits. He said more for me than I can say for anybody. I don't want to spoil it for anybody. No, as Chris said, this is my first time running for any public office. If you'd asked me 8 months ago, about running for public office, I would have looked at you funny and said, "What are you talking about?" This was not something that's been a dream of mine. It's not an ambition of mine. This is something that I came to see as a necessity for me, at least, after sitting there, last fall and last winter, watching this TARP bill get passed through, and watching, Congressman Bonner approve it, despite everybody that I know sending in emails, phone calls, complaining. That's where I am. Let me tell you a little bit about me first. I'm going to do my talk to you guys a little different. Normally I'd give a speech going through everything, but collectively I think there's more knowledge in this room than I could probably ever have on politics and policy. You guys are well versed in what's going on, and I don't need to spend time telling you about Bonner. Obviously, you know what he's done. I don't need to tell you about what a bad job Congress has done. You all know that. So what I'm going to do is just tell you a little bit about me, let you get to know me, and then I want to hear from you. My campaign can't work without input from people like yourselves who, like you said, you know more than I do when it comes to this. What I have to bring to the table is principles. But let me get to this to start off with this. I was born and raised in Mobile. I grew up around Spring Hill Golf Course. I spent most of my life in Mobile. Started to migrate over towards the eastern shore as I got older, and then as I got older, towards college age, I ended up down at the beach. Who can't be drawn to the water? I spent 4 years at the University of Miami studying shipping business, maritime international trade. I'm Greek. Greeks do one of two things. They open a restaurant or go in the shipping business. That's where I thought I was headed. I came back from college immediately, during college, I had signed up and applied for NROTC, officer of candidates going up NROTC. I didn't have it, but OCS for the Navy. I was headed into the Navy, and one of the greatest regrets in my life is that I did not go. 2 weeks before I was going in, I had a change of heart, and the reason is the most embarrassing, but any college-age man will understand. I didn't want to leave my friends. I didn't want to leave my girlfriend. It seemed overwhelming, and it's one of the great regrets in my life. But anyway, shortly after, I ended up starting an information forwarding company, which forwards information from the White House to cities around the country. And even the kicker, this is your federal government for you. They send me information for free, and I turn around and sell it back to the federal government. That's your tax money at work. A couple of years after that, I got into real estate development with my father. He and I partnered in a project called Village of Tannin down in Orange Beach, which is a traditional neighborhood development, basically about going back to the way neighborhoods were designed when everybody lived on their front porch and loved their neighbor. That's what I've done for the past 10, 15 years. I recently married my wife here, Bethany, if you haven't met her yet. And we've got our first, my first and her first, our little boy coming in June. And so if having a baby was not time consuming enough, I decided to throw running for Congress in there too, just to make sure I had something to do. But as I say, my goal has never been to be a politician. I'm coming from a career where people make fun of real estate developers. I can appreciate the jokes. I think half the people down at the beach should be in jail. Half of them are, and the other half should be. I think, I have a lot of respect for hardworking people. I have a hard time respecting a lot of people in the real estate industry down at the beach because I think they're responsible for half of the housing crisis we have. You had people down there telling you, hey, come buy a house from me. You may not be able to afford it. Buy this condo. You may not be able to afford it, but I'm going to sell it for you in 3 months, and you're going to make a lot of money. And they had people buying into this idea, so we ended up with houses and condos costing 2-3 times what they were really worth. Go figure, the market crashes, so there's people hurting. I think the banks aren't the only ones to blame for that. I think that the industry that I'm in, which thankfully I never took part in, is a lot to blame. But anyway, like I said, my wife and I spent a lot of time during the presidential campaign watching the news, and anybody can't help but really get into it. And after watching the financial crisis and knowing, what, in my opinion, was the right thing to do, which was to let businesses fail, seeing that not happen, seeing our congressmen ignore us, and it got me thinking. You know what? I'm in a position in my life where I can take the time to do this. It's going to be an immense challenge. There's nothing easy about challenging an incumbent, especially one that already has a lot of money in his pocket. Most career politicians would never dream of it. Their job is to climb the ladder. Start at one little job, an opening comes up, we'll take that one. And they don't want to mess the waters up and upset anybody else that's in office by challenging them. So they're going to keep their little country club. If Joe Bonner had run for governor, there'd be half a dozen or more people, vying for his space. When we knew we wanted to run for Congress, it was right about the same time, or actually before, we heard Joe Bonner was thinking about running for governor. So we rushed. We got everything. We tried to get everything done because we knew that if Bonner ran for Congress or ran for governor, everybody else would jump in. Well, we wanted to be first. We wanted to be the ones that said, I don't care if Bonner's running for governor or running for Congress. We challenge him because we believe he has let us down. So that's what got me to where I am today running.